clawing your way out of the darkness. Did you tell the kid whoever walks with you dies by my hand?
2, 1. Okay, everybody. Hi, we're back.
Hi.
And as you might know, we talked about this on the audio podcast, though this will be up before the audio, so you probably won't know. But for future reference, if you've listened to the audio podcast, this is the video version of the podcast that we're talking about right now. And what we've got here is we took some choice cuts from the trailer, and me and Hans are going to do some deep diving into each and every one of them. So everybody always says this, and I don't know why, but without further ado, let's get into it. And I will click to the next slide, so just pardon me while I look off screen doing this. All right, so this is the first slide, and this is where we have the shot of this sort of like old castle overlooking what I first thought was just a rock field, but I think that's actually the village that we're going to see later on in the movie. So what your thoughts of this shot, Hans?
Yeah, it looks very epic, and it looks very. It looks like a very expensive shot.
Yep.
We don't know. Probably a lot of it is CGI, maybe, and stuff like that. So, but it looks grand, and it sets a good tone for the movie, I think.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if this. Some people are speculating the structure up top might be Gilead or something like that. I don't know, but that's an interesting thought. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
So the next one is a shot of the gunslinger, Idris Elba, standing on a rocky outlooking, and there's nothing that we can really make out of it. I just thought it was a really cool shot, so that's why I included it.
Yeah, it might be when he leaves Gilead on his quest or something like that. We don't know. He's pretty small in there, so
yeah, it's hard to tell. But I just like the landscape. So they're using the South African landscape to their full advantage. Now this is still very early in the trailer. This is when I guess Jake is having visions, and this creature, which is in the tower or this building, looks like a Rambo building. I'm wondering if it's kind of a spidery like creature. I'm wondering if this is one of the creatures that it is related to.
Could be. I don't really know what this could be, really. If it's just from the imagination of Jake, or if it's really something that exists. Could be a slow mutant, maybe some version of it, or something like that. It's hard to say, but it's looked damn scary anyway.
Yeah. Okay, and this is a shot of Jake with all the drawings that he's done. We see a closer up shot of this, where we see the tower, and beside that, and the cool thing about it is that you can see like the roses. So he's colored in roses afterwards with red ink. And then to the left of that, there's this picture of this building or some sort of monolith, which you can see like the dark man in black's eyes above it. I think that's the building because we've seen stills where the breakers are sitting like in a ring of chairs.
Yeah.
And I think this is where the breakers are, and that beam that's going up is what they're using to try to break the beam. And then there's just a whole cool wall of pictures. At the very far left, you can see the door, which has the 1919 on it. There's pictures of the tower with the two suns, pictures of the man in black. There's some interesting pictures of mostly of the man in black, actually. There's very few of the gunslinger here. Yeah, so there's some very interesting pictures here. We can see a picture of the chair, which it looks like where the breakers are strapped in. So definitely some very cool pictures here.
Yeah, I got to think about Patrick, the artist.
Yeah.
Who we meet in the last book here, because he's a good drawer.
Right.
And this is one of the difference if you compare to the book. You don't. This is not how the setup is done in the book. No. That they are going a little bit off the book here.
Yeah, quite a bit actually, but
yeah.
And if you're Go ahead. Sorry.
It's good that Jake is good at drawing, because if he's like me, he could only draw stick figures, this would be a very ugly wall.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So
Yeah.
I just think it's cool how they're.
Yeah.
These are like Easter eggs for the book readers. I think, like for regular movie fans, they might get a little bit of out of this, but we're looking at some things here, and I'm going, okay, there's the beam breakers, so there's the door to the far left, and to the far right, we can see the tower actually cracking in two, which is interesting as well. So,
Yeah.
hopefully,
And the two suns or moons, whichever it is,
yeah,
has also been a lot of discussion about on the internet from this trailer. That and also later on, Jake say you're gonna love Earth, indicating that they are in a different planet and stuff like that. So that's been the subject of a lot of discussions online.
Yeah, I think that's a little much ado about nothing. I mean, if you jump through a portal and you're on another place, what are you going to call where you came from? You're going to call it. What are you going to call it besides Earth, right? Like,
you're
not going to say I'm, from the third planet of the sun or something like that, or like he doesn't know that this is an alternate Earth at that point. So yeah.
Do you think that it's another planet? I mean,
no,
it has two suns or moons.
Well, I just think it's in the multiverse. This is the beauty of the Dark Tower stories. You can do anything you want. So if there's two moons and another Earth, that's quite possible. So now in the movie, if they're playing it as another planet, I don't know. I don't think they are. I just think that's a visual cue to tell the movie. Again, you have to remember, general movie audiences are seeing this, that if they see that in the sky, they're going to say, okay, we're not on our world anymore. And that's just a quick visual cue. And I still think it's just another version of Earth. But yeah, so I'm not worried about that. Okay, there's a shot of Men in Black. Looking pretty menacing in the shadows, and not quite sure what this scene is. It's hard to tell. This looks like a different location because there's books on the shelves. It looks like he's looking for something. I don't know if this is part of that complex that we see in the teaser trailer, the snow, and he walks into the doorway. So we'll have to see.
Looks like some kind of library or something like that.
Yeah. There's Roland as the Man in Black with his gun on Jake. I think that's a great picture. There's another great picture later on of him and Jake together holding guns, which I like as well. So it's a nice introduction. I don't know if this is the first shot we're going to see of Roland, because I really want. They've done a nice nod in the trailer. I don't know if you know, like the music box music that you hear. That's actually from a Clint Eastwood for a Fistful of Dollars. It's called the Watch Chimes, or the Corleone's theme. And if you watch that, go on YouTube and watch a clip of that, or let's look for Watch Chimes. You'll get that this is the same music. So we have our nod already to the Clint Eastwood movies, but I'm really hoping that at the beginning, if they show like the opening lines, like the Men in Black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed, that they show him coming out of some heat shimmers like Clint Eastwood did in High Plains Drifter. I think that would be another really cool nod. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
And then I added these shots because Han says, "Oh, I want some shots of Roland loading his gun." So obviously in still pictures it's hard to do, but this is when he does like the swipe along the side of his belt with the cartridges that are in that off to the side, and he's just quickly popping them into the cylinder of the chamber of the gun. So that's really cool. It's really subtle. I actually like the subtle gunplay moments. Like we have the big one later on when he's in the middle of battle catching the bullets out of the air, but I like this one and the other one when he speed loads. I think these are really cool, and plus you can see like those extra ammos that he carries in his pouch as well. So it's a nice close-up shot of the belt. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that these subtle things shows also that it's something he's done for a long time and something you do regularly without thinking. It comes natural to him, and that's exactly how I see Roland as when it comes to a gunslinger, that he loads very fast, and it's no big deal for him. It's just his nature.
Yeah. So very cool looking. In general, though, I agree. It's this is a nitpick thing. Maybe because he's restarting the cycle, but he's very clean. Later on in the trailer, he actually gets dirtied up, but here he's just really clean. So I'm guessing the reason for that is because he's at the start of a new cycle. So, but still, there's his belt looks worked in a little bit anyhow. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of our first Easter eggs. That's a picture of the Overlook Hotel, of course. And the other thing I like is the figure with the horn, which could be a nod to the Horn of Eld. So that's kind of a nice touch as well. And none of the books really have anything, but yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought that was a pipe.
Well,
that the figure was smoking.
Could be, but it could also be a horn, right?
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, it could be one.
So I thought that's pretty cool.
This is cool because, and this photo of the Overlook would be, for us King fans, is a big deal. And those who aren't King fans, they won't react to it, and it's just a picture saying nothing to them. So it's I think it's nice when they mix in these Easter eggs that really has no impact on the story itself, but it gives us, the King fans, something extra to talk about.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. Next one. This is Jake outside the Dutch Hill Mansion. So it's one of his better drawings.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. We'll come to another slide in this later, but there's a concern that I do have about this being so early in the story, but I think we have to realize that certain things are not going to happen that we thought were going to in this first book. So,
yeah, if this doesn't mean that they have changed a lot of things, the order of a lot of things, we're going to miss some very key moments from the book.
Yeah, some much loved moments for sure.
Yeah, and I think the house looks more. It's much cleaner and nicer than I imagined when I read the book. I thought it would be more like the house from It. More that kind of house. This looks like people are still living in it.
Yeah, it's hard to tell
at least
from
the
angle.
outside. So
yeah, it's hard to tell from this angle, but it does look a little in better shape than I thought it would be. But it kind of does approximate what I had in my mind's eye of how it looked. But yeah. All right, so in our next picture we have the portal, and this is one of those scenes that we saw in the leaked trailer that didn't look very good. But here, I really like how because if you watch it, the portal kind of wavers a little bit, moves really slowly like a snake back and forth. So that's kind of cool. But obviously this right here is a big departure from the books. So because this is not the way Jake gets into Midworld the first time at all. And if you're a book reader, this is where you start probably getting a little perturbed if you don't like it. So. And I have some hope here, because in the leak trailer you see Jake punching numbers or something in a keypad, like when you're going into your workplace or something like that, when you need a code. Yeah. And that scene is actually cut from this trailer. So it gives me hope that they have actually removed that part of the movie at all, because I didn't like the fact that he was entering a code number and getting the portal to open. I more wanted it to just happen. I don't know. It may still be in the movie, but hopefully they made a cut. If I had to put money down, I think it's still in the movie. This just didn't show it in the sequence, but we'll see. All right, next picture. And this is interesting. It's a picture of the tower, but I have to think it's more Jake's imagination than an actual real moment. But it just looks nice, so I included it in the slide deck. But it's a very cool.
Yeah, and overall, all the images we see of the tower, I think, is great. Yeah, it's fantastic looking.
Yeah. All right, next one. Oh, and there's a shot of the tower breaking, and this is where a lot of people are thinking maybe the tower's going to break, but I think this is really more like a beam quake, that we're going to see a beam quake in this movie as well, which is, again, that's pretty early on to happen in this movie, but they're amping up the stakes right off the bat, so they're not wasting any time with this. So. Yeah, and the beams look cool too. At first I thought, what the heck are those?
Yeah.
And then, of course, they're the beams.
Yeah. I think everything that has to do with the tower itself is looking perfect, I think.
Yeah.
I think they really have succeeded with that part.
Yeah. All right, up next. So this is interesting. This is Jake with Roland somewhere in Midworld in a forest of some type, and then this reddish thing appears in front of him, and that's I don't know if it's the same creature that we saw at the beginning of the trailer, or if it's a different one, but it's some sort of a thinny, I guess. And I don't know if this is near where we saw that, where we're going to see another image where Jake was looking at something that is a second tie-in to another King property, but I don't know if this is in the same area or what, but I thought it was just a pretty cool moment.
Yep, yep.
All right. This is from the teaser, because it wasn't in the main trailer, but I pulled it out because when I first saw this, I thought, ooh, could this be Jericho Hill? I thought, no, they're not going to do that in this movie too, are they? But but even no matter how closely I look at these people, I think it's on our Earth because they seem to be dressed in more military type clothing. But it's hard to get a really good look at anybody lying down. I tried to, but it's just a really cool shot.
I think it might show that they are establishing that the Darkman has been walking around on Earth or any other place as well for a long time, and this might well be, say, a battle in World War II or something like that, and it shows that he's walking among there and he has his finger in every bad thing that's happened.
Yeah.
So I think that could be that kind of shot.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool shot wherever it is.
Yeah.
And then he's so I put that other shot in because I think it ties into this shot. I think he's still in the same location because it looks like snow behind him. So some sort of, and that's why I think it's on our world. I think it's some sort of military base or something like that. So might be getting some weapons or something like that. Yeah, well, I have a theory about that, but we'll get into that to a slide later. So it's a cool shot, but I like the silhouette in the doorway. So that's good. Yeah. Now this is interesting. This again from the Roland teaser trailer. It's not in the main trailer. I like the fact that there's a 1919 on it. I'm just a little confused. When the doorway is open, shouldn't the view be at somewhere different? Because it's basically like when the door is closed. Yes, you should see everything around you in that world. But when you open up the doorway, it should be showing you a different view than the surroundings, and that's not happening here. So I'm a little confused as to what's going on here. Maybe they're going to reimagine the doorways, how they operate in the movie, but I would have expected the view to be in a different location. So
could it be that the angle we see it from is from the back of the door? That if you imagine standing on the other side, you would look into the door. And this is how we see it from the back.
Oh, that's possible. Yeah, that makes sense. But because if you but if you're coming from the other way, I just assumed that the door was opening in instead of opening out. But you might be. I hope you're right. That would make sense.
Yeah, and I think at least if you look at the illustrations from the books, I think you always open the door to you.
Okay.
So that might be the case.
Oh, good. Whew. Thank you. I like that theory.
It's just a guess. It's just a guess, though.
It's a good one. I like it.
Yeah.
And this is interesting because it looks like he's inside the Dutch mansion. The first couple of times I watched the trailer, I thought he was inside the Dixie Pig, but this looks to be like the Dutch mansion. So Dutch Hill Mansion. So he must have found out that Jake was going to be there, or Jake has been there, and so I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but I'm pretty sure this is not the Dixie Pig anymore.
Could be he's chasing Jake and he's just a little bit too late, so he's escaped him and is in that house. Yeah, for sure. Could be, yeah.
And I just like this shot because you can see the fire reflecting in his eyes. I just thought that was a really cool shot. So.
Yeah. I'm liking him more and more as the Darkman. I think he might be good. Really good. Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny watching the trailer reactions. A lot of people, as soon as they see him, they go, "All right, all right, all right." So he's got that bit of a stigma attached to him. Whereas with Roland, Idris Elba, everybody says, "Yeah, he's badass. He's really cool." So they like both actors, but they, when they see McConaughey, they always think of that car commercial now. So, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, and he has kind of hissing voice as well in the trailer.
Yeah, snake-like. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit on the fence there if I want him to talk like that all the time, because it gives him an evil sound, but it's also give him a little bit of an annoying sound.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want him to talk like that the entire movie, actually. But
yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. All right, in the next slide, we have Roland and Jake wading across a river, I guess, and it's pouring rain out. You can see Jake is clutching his bag with all his drawings in it. Hopefully it's waterproof.
Yeah.
And, Roland is just not paying the rain any attention. He's just doing his thing. He's just walking. So I think Elba, I mean, in a perfect world, yes, Clint Eastwood would be playing this part, but in this day and age, I just really can't think of anybody that can do the part better than him right now. And I had a really strong feeling about it. And now that I've seen this trailer, I'm totally sold on him as a gunslinger. I think you have a slightly different opinion of that, Hans, but
yeah. But this picture also tells me that the tower is what's important to him, and he is not that fond of Jake, and maybe not that kind to him in the beginning, because he's really not paying attention to him. He could fall and drown and be swept away here without him even noticing.
Right.
And I think this image really shows that. And I think we could see that when they first meet, and he points the gun at him, and it doesn't feel like he, as he does later in the books at least, feel like he's a son to him. Here is just an annoying kid whom he might rather not have there at all. So, and I think this is showing that he's not really caring if he comes with him or not. He's not concerned if he makes it through the river or stuff, whatever it is. So this shows us that he is a little bit unsympathetic, I think, to Jake.
Yeah. I the vibe I got was that he's totally forgotten about the tower. He's out for revenge. He just wants to get the Man in Black. And I think it's Jake is going to rekindle his desire, or the quest for him to go back to the tower. Because if this is the sequel that it looks like it is, we don't know how many times Roland's done the cycle after the book, so he might have done it thousands of times, and he's just really gotten worn down, and or maybe he's gotten to the point where the tower is not the main goal for him anymore. Which would be necessary for him to progress, to finish the journey properly. I mean, he's picked up the Horn of Eld, so whatever. I think that he's more focused on revenge than he is about the tower. Which is that still a good spot to be into? I don't know. I don't think so. But I think what they're showing here is that he's been doing this for so long that he's actually forgotten what his original purpose was. But we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Alrighty, next one. This is one of these concerned pictures. Like when I see this picture, I feel like I'm watching Lord of the Rings now.
Yeah, I agree.
If these are the slow mutants, they move pretty damn fast.
Yeah.
Or if they're the Taheen without human masks on, I guess that works. That's kind of cool. I do like these guys better than some of the other baddies we're going to see later on in the movie, but or the teaser. But yeah, this kind of like I'm going, well, who are these guys? Are they just hill people? Like I just can't help thinking of Lord of the Rings when I see this picture. So
yeah, I agree definitely, and I hope they won't call them slow mutants, because that is something totally different. They live underground. They move slowly, slimy kind of creatures. So there's really no reason to call them that, because if people don't know the Dark Tower, they don't care what they call them, and if they know, they are just going to be pissed off with it. So I hope they call them something else.
Yeah, if they call them the Taheen, I'm fine with that. It's what they look like without their human masks on. That works for me. Just don't call them the slow mutants.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, next picture. So this is just a wonderful shot that again just sort of lends that epic feel to this movie, which watching this trailer just kind of blows my mind how epic it actually feels. So we have this shot of this building, decaying building out in the middle of the forest or whatever. I don't know if it's just a scenery shot or if they actually go inside it to look for something. No clue, but it just gives you a nice vibe about that the money is on the screen for this picture. Like through the whole teaser, that trailer, it's like wow, this looks way more than a $60 billion picture. But so did it. So it's pretty amazing how great looking both of these movies are turning out to be so far.
Yeah, and I think this could be them showing that the world has moved on.
Yeah.
That this was a building, but now things have moved on and it's not anymore. Maybe it's an old Gilead image house or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It shows really good. And if you look to the left a bit there on the cliff, it seems like there's a part of the building there as well.
Oh, nice catch.
Overgrown.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. So that this might be a part of a city or something like that that's grown over.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next. Well, look who's here.
Yeah. This is very interesting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it says Pennywise there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if is it a ride or is it a sign over amusement park
or wagon or something.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that is, but it definitely say Pennywise.
Yeah.
And you have the hand with the balloons there.
Yeah, and down in the gully behind it, it kind of looks like a face with a crown, maybe, or something. Or maybe it's the frill of a clown's collar or something. I can't quite make that out. And I'm wondering if this is the area where that creature shows up that was in the red in the earlier shots.
Yeah.
So maybe it's Pennywise.
Yeah, and it's interesting because here, this is so big and I can't imagine him just walking by this. So it has to have some meaning.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I hope they don't mix in Pennywise actually, that the clown is showing up, because
I doubt if they can do that. I'm actually surprised that this is in here with that new movie coming out, to be honest. But
I guess they would be happy with. I mean, this is free commercial for that movie.
Absolutely.
Because but I don't know how.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how they could get Pennywise in here without explaining that, and I don't think that belongs here. So I hope they don't go as far as actually bringing Pennywise in this, and just have it as a Easter egg for the fans.
Yeah, but again, I'm wondering if that creature that they meet is Pennywise in its real form. Maybe we'll never see Pennywise as the clown, but we've never seen him in his true form either. Well, we have,
no,
not in a one where technology made it look really good. So that creature that we're seeing could be Pennywise. But that would they would never blatantly come out and say it, but you could sort of make the inference maybe, because if you see this shot and then like 5 minutes later that creature shows up, you could go, wow, that's probably Pennywise or something like that.
No.
And they won't say it, but it's a potential scenario. So it's be interesting to see how this plays out in the movie. But I'm willing to bet that red mist creature shows up somewhere near where they see this Pennywise thing.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting to see.
Yep. All right, next shot. So this is just showing, I didn't put in the two slides, but there was a slide where Jake saw this bolt of light going up in the air and then it hit something, and I didn't know what it was at first. Now I realize it was a beam, right? But if you look to the spoke in the middle left, you can see it's a bit brighter than all the other ones, and I think that's that bolt of energy that Jake saw traveling down the beam to the tower. And then we got that shot, next shot, and we had the bigger shot where you can see the tower bursting out, pieces of it falling off. So I think that's the breakers trying to break the beam. Mm. And then the shot after that is of that beam quake passing over New York City. So you can see it in the skyline, right? It looks like lightning. So that's the beam quake. So that's cool. I mean, like you said, I think everything that they've done with the beams and the tower looks really good. So
yeah, it does. Really good, I think.
Yeah, really well done.
And that was one of my concerns, how they would get the tower and get it right.
Yeah.
but they did it, and they did it good. So I'm happy with that. Definitely.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Next. So this is the moment that I watched a lot of trailer reactions, and there's a lot of data in that first half of the trailer to process about the Dark Man or Men in Black, the gunslinger, the tower, and the connection between the worlds. But then that moment when Jake says, or Roland asks Jake, do you have guns and bullets in your world? And he says, you're going to like Earth a lot. Everybody generally reacts to that very positively. And then they have that on August 4th. And then when they show the sky shot of New York City, and then pull in to show Roland looking around, amazed at everything, and then that heroic theme music kicks in. I think this is where the point where the trailer, where people are really starting to get into this whole concept of what the Dark Tower is about. And again, the cinematography during these scenes with Roland in New York City, they just look fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, and it will be interesting to see how they get to New York. Do they go through the mansion as Jake did when he went to Roland's world, or how do they come there? That's it's not shown in the trailer.
Actually, it is.
It is.
There's another portal, like the one from Dutch Hill Mansion,
okay.
But it's not in Dutch Hill Mansion. It's in the Midworld. Well, maybe and it's not in the desert, so it has to be somewhere else. It must be in the Manny Village or something that they're in. But they go through another portal. It's not a door, so.
That's a pity. I would have wished for a door. I think that's a cool concept.
Yeah, hopefully that will happen in the next movie, and then when they get Eddie and Susanna. But we'll have to see. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And then this, I think, again, is in the Dutch Hill Mansion. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
And
it looks like stuff are sticking out on the wall, and you have the cracked wall, so it's definitely a worn down house, I think.
Yeah, and I like that the Man in Black is dragging his hand along the wall where somebody's painted "All Hail the Crimson King." So that's cool as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this shot. It's hard to get a clear shot of what looks like Jake and the house in the same frame, because there's twisting and turning, and a lot of times you can't see enough of the wood, and then other times you can't get a good shot of Jake. So this is kind of a compromise. You can tell if you go through it frame by frame that it's a CGI'd Jake, but I'm really at a loss to explain how this sequence is happening in the movie without anybody else around to help Jake. Like, is this where Roland is going to help him somehow, or does he go through this on his own the first time he goes through the portal? I'm not sure.
Was he going through a couple of times?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. So, but how this? I didn't expect to see this in this movie. I just thought this. I still had the hope that Jake was going to have to come back on his own, that Eddie would have to, cut the key to open the door to the Dutch mansion to get Jake to come back again the second time. But the fact that they're showing it this now, I have a feeling that once he's back and we have to assume that Jake and Roland end up back in Midworld at the end of the movie. But that's.
Are you sure it's Jake?
Yes, if you step through it, you can see it's Jake, definitely.
Okay, because I looked at it now, and it looks like he has a black jacket or something. I thought maybe it could be the Man in Black turning from the house to the Man in Black or something like that.
No, it's Jake. It is.
It's Jake.
I should have showed a still where you could see his face, but it's definitely him. But this was the one that showed both of them the best. So
yeah.
But again,
it would be interesting to see how they tie that together.
Yes. So I'm really at a loss as to how this is going to work. I don't know if Roland's there, or it's just when they're going to, just before they go back to New York City that we saw in the previous shots. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see how he gets out of this. Maybe he's going to use his, because he's got the vision power. He must have other powers that he could use too. I don't know. I kind of hope they don't do that, but we'll have to see. But this shot throws me for a loop more than anything else in the trailer. But not just from a story perspective, but from a budget perspective, this is a pretty big piece of work to do, right, to make it look believable. So I'm really kind of surprised to see this here. But should be interesting to see where it ends up. Here we have our buddy, the Man in Black,
Yep.
trucking around New York City. It's again, there's not much here to talk about. It's just other that I think it's cool to see him walking around New York City like that.
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right.
And this is actually also from the first pictures we saw of him.
Yeah.
As the Man in Black was when they shot this because he was wearing these clothes and definitely in New York. So this is cool to see them in moving pictures now.
Yeah. Okay. Now here we have the SWAT guys.
Yes.
So are these just humans that the Man in Black has turned to follow him? I don't know. I doubt if they're cops. They don't look like cops.
No.
So
I'm guessing this is the Dixie Pig.
This is the Dixie Pig, I think.
Yeah.
So.
You don't think it could be the Tahins?
I guess it could be. They couldn't afford to do the makeup for them, so they're all wearing their human masks. I'm not sure, but it's kind of disconcerting to see this. That's for sure. Yeah,
and I think they will have their human masks on most of the time.
Yeah.
I only think they will show one or maybe a couple of them without the masks, and we know from the leaked trailer that there was one who just moved his face and putting the mask on right and stuff like that. So I think that mostly when we see them, they will actually have their human faces on because of it would cost too much actually to add that to everyone. So for sure. Yeah.
All right, next. So this is interesting because every time I've seen or watched this, I always assumed that he was talking to Roland directly. But if you look on the bottom right, you can see a very interesting ball. So I think that's Black 13. And I'm wondering...
Yeah, either that or he's on his way to a bowling match.
Yeah. Well, and I'm wondering if this is what he was looking for in that other trailer or a clip where he's standing up in the snow and going in that doorway.
Yeah.
Maybe this was in that facility. I don't know. That would be interesting to see. So... But,
that would be interesting if it was hidden in somewhere in the North Pole or things like that, and he was going there to get it. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, could be that, but maybe not. But you wonder why he would have that scene in the movie if he's not looking for something specific. So
yeah.
All right. And this is very quick, and we don't really see him in the trailer at all. But that's Sayre. That's Jack Earl Haley. Pushing Roland out the window. So I didn't even really catch it until I started stepping through and trying to pick clips, shots for this, for our video. But there he is. It's good to know that he's actually in the movie.
Yeah, and we know he has a fight scene with Roland.
Yeah.
Because we've seen photos from when they filmed this.
Yeah.
So this might be the start of that scene.
Yeah. Yeah, they fall outside, and then I think he was throwing like a car door at him or some stuff like that. So
Yeah.
So anyhow, there's our clear shot of Jack. That's the clearest shot I could get of Jack Earl Haley.
Yeah.
As Sayre, right? Sayre.
Yeah.
Then if this didn't confirm it, nothing else will. But Catherine Winnick must be playing Jake's mother.
Yeah.
So just wanted to include that because she's been fairly visible promoting the film as well, so that's good.
Yeah, and this clip actually, when it appears in the trailer, it feels like it's placed in the wrong order.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because, or it indicates that Roland and Jake are back in New York, and he knows he's going back with Roland, and he's somehow saying goodbye to his mother, and could be something like that. But this clip felt a little bit misplaced, I think, in the trailer. It goes, oh, what? And then it's gone.
Yeah.
So,
and I think they gave away a plot point by putting it at this spot in the trailer too. But
yeah.
So next shot, there's like 3 shots in succession here. Now I don't know if this is the way these kind of guns shoot or if they're enhancing it with special effects, but I just did like 3 shots in here because I just love the effect of when Roland shoots his gun every time. This is when the firing pin hits the bullet, and then you see those sparks, and then the next shot you can see it's in the chamber, so now the chamber's lit up and the end of his barrel's glowing. And then in the third shot, you got like the big cloud of explosion. So I just, when you watch that little piece in the trailer, every time he shoots his gun, there's like these big flashes of, and I'm assuming that they're doing a bit of special effects enhancements there, but it just looks really cool when you step through it or watch it in the live time. So.
Yeah, and I think that might be to indicate that the guns are really old and not like a modern gun that just fires. So here's something else happening. So
yeah, and so when we get to another picture of the guns, I want to ask you a question about it. But here's another shot of Mr. Speedloader. This was probably my favorite version of him loading his guns.
Yes,
I thought that was really cool. And everybody goes, "Whoa, this dude's got skills."
Yeah, I think, and this is really impressive. And as we talked about earlier, he does it without thinking. It looks like so. This comes very natural to him. It shows he's a gunslinger and he's done this for ages. And great shot, I think.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's a great shot.
Yeah.
And then there's the other fancy dancy. This one I don't know. I'm okay with it, but I know general moviegoers liked it the best, I think, out of all the ones I saw, because it's the flashiest. But this is something I hope is more like a desperation kind of move, like, you know, when you're really pushing yourself to the limit to, like, as an athlete or a goalie, to make that save, to dive or something like that. So you have this first shot with this one gun, and then the second shot he's getting the other cylinders. The first one, at least, he was looking at. The second one, he's not even looking at it.
No, this is a little bit of a show off.
Or desperation, yeah. It's a cool visual move. Maybe a little over the top, but I prefer the other two gunslinger moves better. But this one's the showiest one for sure. And then this next shot is very interesting, and I didn't catch it until I stopped it. And that's it'll be after this. But this is where you see the guns from Roland with, and I think this could be a poster with him and Jake holding the guns like that. I just love this shot. So what do you think of the size of the guns? Are they as big as? Because a lot of people were claiming in the earlier publicity stills that we saw that they thought the guns weren't big enough. So what do you think of them now?
Yeah, I think they are big enough. I think that if they, I mean, they are big guns, but they are not super big guns. But on the other hand, if they would make them bigger, they would look clumsy, and I mean, it would look like when you see Arnold Schwarzenegger with a machine gun in his hands. And I don't think that's what they want to do. So I think this is definitely a good sized gun, I think.
Yeah, it's long barrel on them. I think around the and I'm not a gun expert, so don't forgive me, any gun people out there. But like the chamber the cylinder that holds the bullet, there seems to be like a lot of empty space around it. That's kind of a weird design. I'm not used to that much opening there, but maybe it's easier for them to load the gun that way, or I don't know. Yeah,
definitely. I have to make one point more about when he speed loads in the previous picture. When he throws up those clips that holds a full magazine, and then he snaps them in, where does that piece goes that holds them together?
I assume it's landing flat against the back of the cylinder, so it's probably like a flat
okay,
strip.
so it's still there.
So he can only do that once, right? Because the next time he has to open it to remove that flap or whatever that holder is that's keeping those bullets together. Yeah, I was wondering that too, because like you have to have something to hold the bullets together, but it has to be something thin, right? Otherwise there's no way he can do what he's doing. So, but I'm assuming that. I have no way of proving that right now, but until we get a closer look at his how he belts himself up. All right, next picture.
Yeah.
This, again, threw me for a loop, because this...
Yes.
Well, a lot of people, of course, reacted to, it's the guy from Allstate insurance commercials, right? So you're in good hands with Allstate. But, I mean, this is the spitting image of Roland as an older man. So it has to be his dad, don't you think? It's Stephen Deshane?
Definitely. Yeah, I can't imagine it being anyone else.
Yeah, and he's got like the kind of, gunslinger vest on with the brass buttons and stuff going on there. So this is very interesting.
Did you get that we see a younger Roland here?
No, I've heard people say from the back of the head you see a younger Roland, but when you look at the still, that's Idris Elba. Like,
yeah, it must be, and I can't see. I take this as being not a flashback, but more that he envisions his father saying, "You are right, you're doing the right thing," and something like that, more than a flashback to his past.
Interesting, because I'm not sure, because the fact that they're both crouched, it means like are they crouched over a body, or is like what's going on there? Like why would they be crouched? I think somebody's, I don't know if it's his mother or his wife, the guy's wife, but I think they're crouching over a body, but I have nothing to prove that. It's just like the kind of vibe I get, that why would they be crouching like that? I don't understand. So.
Yeah, but it looks like they are in the woods, and
Yeah.
Roland's mother died in the castle, but that could change definitely. But
Yeah.
I don't see that. I see this more like Roland is envisioning his father being there,
Okay.
more than a flashback to, because if I remember correctly, and again this could be changed since they're not adapting the book exactly, but Roland's father, the last time he saw him he was pretty young. So for this to be really happening, Roland would have to be younger than he is in the rest of the movie. And so I see this more like Roland is he's done something bad. He's wondering, oh man, am I doing right? Is this right? And his father is there. His vision of his father is there, telling him, oh, you're on the right path. Something like that.
Right. Yeah. Possible. Yep. That's.
Yeah, but it's just a guess. We didn't even know that he was in the movie until now. So
again, this is another one of those things that's really throwing me off, right? Like, it's
yeah,
like, wow,
yeah.
This movie's got to be like over 2 hours long with all the stuff that we've seen so far. Like, you can't just throw in a scene like this. It's not going to be like a 30-second scene. It's going to take a couple of minutes, right? So
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff going on for sure.
Yeah, and I see him. I see him as the president in 24. Did you see that?
Yeah, other people have mentioned that as well.
Yeah. So.
Oops, sorry, lost my focus here. All right, so this is interesting. We've got the man in black in front of a portal. So where is this portal? There's a lot of portals in this movie.
Yep.
And I don't know where this is. It's much more of a... Could this be in New York City? Is this inside that warehouse? I don't think so. I don't know where this is.
No.
It
looks like something that might be on the other side, on Roland's world, maybe.
So it's a more industrial-looking place. And at first I thought he was throwing a knife at him, but he's actually just sort of like lifting up this metal rod, and it's a metal rod that you can see, through telekinesis. He hasn't touched it. He just summoned it up in the air and flung it at Roland. So Roland's sliding underneath of it. So that's kind of interesting. But the thing that caught my eye was the portal out of everything. So that's
definitely
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Why are you not working anymore? Sorry. Okay. So this is the shoot with my heart sequence at the end with Jake, and I like the subtle use of the blue highlighting in the gun within the sigil and along the barrel. I actually don't really think they needed the highlighting along the barrel, but I do like the highlighting of it on the sigil just before the chamber. So and I'm glad that they restrict it to that and don't make the whole gun glow blue or something like that, like really overt. So subtle is always better with these kind of things. So I'm liking that shot quite a bit, and I thought it was very cool.
Yeah, and it's an impressive image when he first say the gunslinger word, and then we see the shot going through a mirror, I think it is, or a window, and through some other stuff, and hits its target, and it almost gives Roland some kind of supernatural power.
Yeah,
because he can't possibly see the man he's shooting. So And I think that it's okay to do it in one or maybe two shots, but I hope they don't make him like he can shoot a bullet around the corner and hit someone and stuff like that. So
yeah.
I mean, it's okay to do it once or twice to show that he's really
skilled,
killing with and in combination with the gunslinger words and everything like that, to make that point. But I hope they don't make him like a super shot that he hits every target and everything. He does in the book, hits his targets, but it's still more of a it's a skill he has. It's not supernatural. So I mean, in the books he sees these targets and he aims and he hits. Here it's more like he's listening and there's some drops and stuff like that, so we hear where his target is, and I hope it's not too much of that.
I agree. I thought it was nicely handled in that sequence. And that's the difficulty of adapting a book. In a book, you can describe Roland's thought processes as doing this kind of stuff. In a movie, all you can do is show him pulling the trigger. So there has to be some like visual cue that something special is going on, which is why I like the subtle blue glow of the gun, and that the wrench clanging against the post. It gives you the idea that he's really using sound along with the gun to focus in on what he's doing. So it's I thought it was a well-handled scene, but I agree with you that this is something that they should only do like once and not very often. Because that's not a scenario that should happen very often as well.
No.
So, but no bullet bending, please.
Yeah. Do we know if this movie is going to be out in 3D?
It probably will be, I would imagine.
Yeah.
That's pretty standard.
This could be this could be a really cool scene in 3D.
Yeah, there's two versions of the trailer, right? So I think one was regular and the other's 3D. So, but that doesn't mean that the movie's going to be in 3D. But the problem is most movies in 3D are post-converted, which means that they do the conversion after the filming. Sometimes it works good, sometimes it doesn't. I don't really think this type of movie needs 3D.
No.
But we'll have to see. It'll be interesting if anybody talks about on social media about seeing the trailer in front of Guardians of the Galaxy in 3D or something like that as to how it looked. But
and we have to go to the movies two times if it's in 3D. We're going to see it in both versions. So.
At least for sure. And I just threw this last one up here because we knew that Akiva Goldsman and Jeff Pinkner had done the draft of the screenplay that it was finally given the green light, but I do see that there's been some additional rewriting or polish by Nikolai Arcel, the director, and I'm assuming a fellow Danish person, Anders Thomas Jensen. So hopefully any rough edges have been smoothed out by these two guys, and I have to say, based on what I've seen in the trailer, I really like the way the movie's been directed by Nikolai. I think he's shown a skill for angles and action sequences, and also kept the special effects subtle and not too much in your face. So overall, the first time I watched the trailer, I had goosebumps. I just thought it was fantastic, and I just love that for the fans. He gives us Idris Elba, reciting the gunslinger's motto at the end of the trailer. So I thought the trailer did a really good job of setting up the universe for people that don't know anything about it, as well as providing us with a flavor for the Dark Tower universe as well.
Yeah, I agree, and I must say, I was very positive. Surprised by this trailer. It was much better than I expected to be, actually, and I actually compared it to the leaked one.
Right. And
this one is so much better. So I'm really glad that they took their time and redid it because it's many of the scenes are different, but some of the scenes are the same, and they seem rushed in the first trailer. I think it's shorter also as well, so that might be some of it, but it's good. And I must say that I'm still a little bit skeptic,
for sure,
as you know I've been, but I think I I'm more positive after seeing this trailer than I were before. I still don't think Idris Elba he's not my gunslinger. But I think that this we will have to accept that this is not an adaptation of the Gunslinger books, the Dark Tower books. This is a standalone movie that goes on after, and as such, I think it will be a good movie. I really think it will be a good movie, and it's. I mean, we have seen stuff that's based on Stephen King, and they take the starting point of it, and stuff like that. And I think if we could keep it like that and see it like a continuation, I think this will be really, really great.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, the desire by some people, some of the book readers, to see a straight adaptation. I would love to see that too, but I just think if you tried to adapt the Gunslinger the way it is written, nobody would go see it except the book readers, because it's a very minimalistic type of movie. It would come across as a Western way too much, and Western movies don't do that well anymore. So I like the approach they're taking, and as a book reader, I'm very curious to see if this is going to be the final loop, how they're going to resolve the ending of the story as well, if we're going to get that. So I'm really looking forward to it. I just think it's you have to, they said, no, we're not adapting the books, and you have to make your peace with that and move on. If you're not, I mean, we've got, how long have we waited for this project to come out? And
super long.
And you've got two of the top actors in it. That's a big draw point for a lot of people that aren't familiar with the Dark Tower, who were watching the trailer and reacting to it. Said, "Oh, it's got two of the best actors, Matthew McConaughey and my man Idris and stuff like that." So, I just think that I'm just really impressed with what they've got here. I'm really curious what the running time of this movie is going to be. I'll be stunned if it's under 2 hours, given everything that we've seen, and there's still other things that we haven't seen. So. And as a book reader, I have no idea where the story's going, which is kind of exciting. So, I mean, the beam stuff looks great, and I would say I would be a bit worried if the running time is under 2 hours, because then they would probably have to rush a lot of things to it. And I'm for one is actually happy that they decided not to adapt the book straight on, because I don't think that can be done. I don't think they can do the 7 books, because I mean it would take like 10 years, and there's no way you could keep Jake the same age and stuff like that. So it's not possible to adapt the Dark Tower books in a good way. So I think that's the best decision they could have made with this adaptation, to make it a sequel. Because now they don't have to follow the book; they can do it on their own. The main thing is that they keep the feeling of the books there. And so far, I think they everything speaks for that they have. So I agree. Yeah, it's a tough series to adapt. It's 7 books. I mean, and there's a lot of sections of the book that I don't think are adaptable. It's kind of like with Lord of the Rings. If you try to adapt the Gunslinger, that's sort of like the Silmarillion of the of the Middle Earth literature. Like, you just can't adapt a book like that cinematically and make it interesting to a broad audience. I mean, I think there's definitely an audience that would watch that type of movie, but in a lot of ways, the Gunslinger reminds me of The Road by Cormac McCarthy. If you ever seen that movie with Viggo Mortensen, that's a really bleak picture, and it was really well done. But a lot of people aren't interested in seeing something like that. So you have to you have to try to market this movie or design this movie in a way to get the most butts in the seat without sacrificing the heart and soul of the story. And until we see the movie, but we can't know for sure. But so far, the fact that they included so many elements already, like the Gunslinger's Creed and everything else, I'm pretty impressed with what they've got here. And I can't wait for August 4th.
Yeah, and as you say, we have to face the fact that die-hard Dark Tower fans we are not enough to make these movies going on.
No.
If they do it just for us, they would do the first movie and that would bomb at the theaters and that would be it.
Yeah.
So they have to make it for the mainstream audience as well to get the money in to do the next one. So we have to accept that. And I must say, this really has nothing to do with the content of the trailer, but I hear a lot of people who says, "Oh, this is a bad movie," even before they saw the trailer, and after they've seen the trailer, they say, "Oh, I'm not going to see this. This is crap."
Yeah.
And I mean, come on, you can't know that. Watch the movie and make up your mind afterwards, or just shut up and go and see something else. I mean, you can't say that this is good. Yeah, but
go for it, man.
It makes me furious actually, because
I hear you.
I mean, I said it before. Idris Elba is not my choice for a gunslinger, but I'm not going to say that the entire movie is bad because of that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to watch the movie, and afterwards, I might say that it is bad. I might say it's good, but I can't say that now. And I mean, that's just stupid, I think.
Yeah, I mean, fans are the Damocles sword, right? They're the reason that the properties get selected in the first place, but they're also the harshest critics. So like you just I tried in a perfect universe. Yes, Clint Eastwood would be playing the gunslinger, but that's not going to happen. So you have to accept that they're going to make changes, and the story, the way it's written, is not easily adaptable. So you have to make it accessible to as many people as possible. And with and I think Lord of the Rings movies are the guide stone. And they obviously adapted a lot closer to the source material than what they're doing here. But it's kind of exciting not to know how the story is going to exactly go either. So we've got the books. Maybe someday they'll do a straight adaptation for. I think it's better suited for TV if they're going to go that route. But I'm really excited to see what new things they could bring to the table here. I mean, the big thing, and their decision, based on the trailer reactions I've seen, makes sense, because the reactions of people to this trailer are 95% the opposite in terms of recognition for the It trailer. Everybody comes into that It trailer and says, "I'm scared of clowns. Pennywise scared me of clowns." But they might not even watch the miniseries, but they know who Pennywise is. They know that he's a scary clown. 95% of the people coming to this trailer never heard of it. Over half of them were surprised that it was written by Stephen King, and he writes all that weird stuff, So the Dark Tower has a hard sell. Like, they have to get out there to let people know about what this property is all about, and I think this trailer did a really good job of that. And it just kind of blows my mind that people can know Stephen King and not know that he wrote the Dark Tower. But it was amazing how many people had no clue about what this was about. One of the elements I'm worried about that they have to clean up is a lot of people thought it felt like a never-ending story, because I guess because of Jake is so prominent in the first half of the trailer that they're worried that it might be like a kids movie or something like that. But I think in the next trailer they have to show a little more of the brutality of this situation, and correct people's opinions about because it's not a never-ending story. In that aspect, though I guess in a way it is kind of a never-ending story, but I didn't get that impression at all. I think it showed a lot of cruelty or violence as well, and bodies and stuff like that. So, but to summarize, I think that the trailer definitely made me more positive to the movie. Good.
I think that it's a really great trailer. It's so much better than the leaked one. One thing I miss is the song from the leaked one. I would have loved that one.
A lot of people hate that song, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it was perfect. It worked perfectly. So I missed that song. Mm-hmm. And I think that from watching this trailer, I think they have kept the feeling of the gunslinger. So I think they succeeded in that. Yeah. What worries me a little bit is that Roland is going to be too much of a non-likable person in the beginning, that he's too hard on Jake and maybe too I don't know what the word is, but when you
standoffish.
Standoffish and ignorance and
aloof.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that they have to play that careful, but because in the books, you know, the tower is his number one. He will sacrifice anyone and anything to get to the tower.
Yeah.
But he is still doing it in a way that you like him.
Yeah.
So I that's my concern, that they are going to make him too much of that. So you think he's an asshole, and that I'm a little bit worried about. But I hope they manage to balance that off.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all. I think Idris Elba has the chops and the presence to offset any kind of those kinds of concerns. I think people just, people think he's a badass, and that he's just, they like the guy. And I'm really happy to see him get a shot at something like at a role this big, and it stands out. The gunslinger role stands out, even though it's a kind of a Western. The character's unique against the landscape of what people are seeing nowadays with superhero movies and whatnot. So this has got a totally different vibe to it, and I think it's coming at a great time that people are looking for something different, and people that like the concept of multiple worlds and stuff like that. I think that I hope that to my mind, there's no doubt that the It movie is going to do way, way better than the Dark Tower movie is going to do, just because of recognition factor and the insane amounts of downloads that it got. But I'm just hoping that this will be kind of like a Batman Begins situation, where word of mouth will help the movie make enough money to warrant sequels down the road.
Yeah, I think that in my mind, it's 99.9% certainty that we will get more. I mean, they have already signed up for the TV show, and since this is a pretty cheap movie, they didn't spend too much money. It doesn't have to go and be the biggest and baddest movie of all time to earn that money, and just as it earns the money it's cost, I think they're going to announce that they're doing a second. So I feel pretty sure that they are going to be at least one more movie, I think.
All right. Alrighty, so there you go, folks. That's our deep dive into the Dark Tower trailer.
Yes.
Hopefully this recording will turn out well. We're still learning the ropes and working out the kinks on these video podcasts, so our apologies for any quality issues with it, but bear with us as we learn the ropes. I'm an old dog trying to learn new tricks here, so but that was a lot of fun. I enjoy doing this.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun doing it this way.
Yeah, it's good, and hopefully write a comment about it. Tell us if you like us doing this stuff, then we can do more of them. It's fun to be able to show stuff that you talk about.
Yep.
Sure. And we definitely have more stuff to show if people want to watch.
Yep. All right, so that's it for now. Take care, everyone. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stop.